Marc Jackson, NBC Sports Philadelphia, Sixers pre- and post-game. Mark did the post-game the other night, Mark, in which I thought, even though the Spurs were very shorthanded, I get that, I still think it was an impressive victory because of the way that it was the same script. They built the lead, they let it go, but this time they fought it off and figured out a way to win that game. And, hey, look, the Spurs have been resting guys, multiple guys, for years and still figure out a way to win those games when their best guys sit. And that's why, against a team coached by Popovich, I thought that was a great game, the way they grinded and figured out a way to win that game.
I agree with you 100%, man. I really truly believe that, that game, and the game prior to that, shows slight signs of maturity, slight signs of a younger team growing before our eyes, because that Popovich system, Popovich San Antonio Spurs is a plug and play. We're going to plug people in and we're going to play the same way. We're always going to make the proper rotation with defense. We always are going to make the extra pass with the second and the third pass. We're always going to play the right way. So and let's not be sappy about it. Spurs are very good with finding diamonds in the rough in Europe, or guys that wasn't drafted and bringing them into the lineup, or guys that didn't have high expectations. For example, like Kyle Anderson, the big 6'10" small forward. He was great in high school, but once he got to UCLA and they got a pros, people say he wasn't going to be a good pro, he wasn't fast enough. Once again, Greg Popovich system, plug and play. So I really believe that was a very good win for the Sixers, because they beat a very good team that will get to the conference semifinals in their conference.
Mark, one of the things that I really liked about that, and Coach said this after the game, was Ben Simmons in college got to the line 10 times per night in 40 minutes. That's a pretty big number. We haven't seen him be as aggressive. He was almost, dare I say, too aggressive. I mean, he was just putting the head down like a bull in a china shop going to the hoop, which was great to see. Now, he wasn't finishing a whole heck of a lot, and, he had a little bit of a struggle from the line, but 10 of 15 I guess you'll take. But I really liked his aggressiveness. It was almost like someone sat him down and said, listen, if you don't take the ball to the basket, there will be repercussions. And he was like, all right, that's all you had to say, Coach.
Yeah, him and Coach Brown have a very good relationship. And I think he respects the teachings of Coach Brown. When Coach Brett said, he told Ben before the game, I need to see LSU, Ben. And for Ben to go out there and get to shoot 15 free throws, 10 for 15 from Ben Simmons, the player, the 6'10" point guard who sometimes gets to the room and instead of going up trying to get fouled or finishing, he kicks it out to somebody on the three-point line. That was a good sign to see, with him understanding, hey, maybe it may not be a bad idea if I get fouled. Maybe it may not be a bad idea if I get some free throws. The more you shoot, the better you'll get for the free throw line. So I was happy with his aggressiveness. And in the NBA, you can never be too aggressive.
Mark, my background, John Chaney Temple, the turnovers, the basketball is golden value, every possession. I think the Sixers had less turnovers than the Spurs the other night, too, and certainly not an egregious amount of turnovers in the fourth quarter. Am I making too much about Sixers turnovers, or is that a legitimate stat that they have to watch?
No, that's legit. That's a legitimate concern with the amount of turnovers the 76ers be having. But, hey, let's be honest, we kind of expected it with Ben Simmons being given the ball and being the lead ball handler for the team, a young rookie guy. We expect those kind of turnovers. But we also got to be mindful. Each turnover is a 2 to 3 points that you don't have on the board. So we always got to keep that in mind too. So you always got to keep cognizant of the importance of lowering the turnover number. Never getting happy with 16 or 15. If you can try to keep that number under 10, that's ideal. So let's always push for less turnovers, because less turnovers can mean more points, and the game could be won or lost by 1 point.
Has Dario Saric found his role? There was a point in the early part of the season where he was kind of lost coming off the bench. Has he found a role that you think works for him?
I think he has. I think he's gotten back to his old self, like last year and in previous years. I've been following him now for maybe 5 years, even before he got to the NBA. Dario is a basketball player, man. He's a skilled basketball player. He's not one of these conventional stand outside you shoot the three. That's not him. He's not a stretch four. He's a player that can make plays. He's a player that can score. He's a player that can get you some rebounds. He's a player that can facilitate and make easy shots for everyone. I know we rely a lot on that on Ben Simmons, but I think Dario has a lot of that in him too. So I really believe now he understands, look, man, I'm not just going to be out here shooting threes when Ben gets to be open or Joel is double team. I'm going to go do my thing. I'm going to beat people off the dribble. I'm going to post here and there. I'm going to try to score. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm also going to make plays when I have the ball in my hand. If not, get him an assist, but give him a hockey an assist. And he's great at that.
Marc Jackson's with us, NBC Sports Philadelphia, Sixers pre- and post-game live. The other day, Mark, Coach talked about Markelle Fultz, and he essentially said, look, we were banking on this guy to be here, and now we don't have that skill set, and it's exposing us a little bit. Now, some people read that as the coach kind of making excuses. Other people might say, well, look, this was a guy we thought we were going to have, and we don't have him, and when he comes back, we're going to be even better. What did you take from what he said there? Because – you know, I had some people panicking, or not panicking so much, but saying, look, the coach is trying to, take the daggers and take himself off the hot seat by saying, well, I was supposed to have this guy who we don't even know what kind of player he's going to be, and you're making excuses. Where I kind of took it as, look, we were hoping this guy was going to be here, and this team is clearly lacking the skill that guy they hope brings to the table.
I mean, he hit the nail right on the head. I mean, let's be honest. Is he making excuses? I'm big to call somebody out if I feel as though they're making any excuses, because I truly believe excuses are for failure. So I would call him out, and to be honest, if I thought he was. But no, they were banking on him being. He was banking on another person that can score the basketball. And him not being here, him not adding that to a set. Well, I'm actually glad it's actually working out this way. So now we found a niche for him this season. This season will be him coming off the bench. So with that being said, that gives us buckets off the bench, because I truly believe it's even when Ben is there, I truly believe we get stagnant where we can't score buckets. We don't know what we're doing. We're kind of discombobulated, and we're looking for Ben to drive and kick to open guys. And there's been games where Ben is not even in there. You got TJ, you got Jay Billis, you have Rocco or TLC, and you have Holmes, or Dario. I believe with that unit, they're not getting enough points. Dario can score. He can facilitate to help other people score. But if you had another player that can come in the game, and you have to call his number, he's going to break a play, because that's what scorers do. You might call a play, but if every now and then we're going to break it and go for our own. He's going to break a play. He's going to go try to get buckets, get fouled, to score. And that's what Markelle Fultz can bring to this team. They will be a better team once he gets healthy. Now, people say, oh, you just add anybody to be a better team. That's not true. Markelle Fultz has a skill set. He's a big combo guard that can score the ball 3 facets of the game, slashing, getting to the rim, hitting the mid-range shot, and hitting the three. I know everyone's kind of panicking because of the way his shoulder was hurt, but he's healthy now. He's getting the shoot. When he gets to the lineup, this team will be a better team.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I made some bold predictions for 2018, and one of them was I think this guy will be he will, in my opinion, justify why the Sixers traded up to get him.
I hope so. And I know Toro and Colangelo's hope so. And Brett Brown, because he was a player that the 70s, he was in a position that the 76ers needed. That's just the truth. It's best for him to get 100% before he got out there and struggle his way through it, because then he can work through it, and then he's young. So let's not forget his age factor into it. We don't want to sit him out there 50%, 60%, and if he struggles, no matter how he plays thereon, he's still going to be thinking about it because he's a young player. Now that he's healthy, when you struggle, when you go through some things, they could do nothing but make you stronger. So I really, truly hope that when he comes back, he's able to do everything they need him to do, and that's get buckets.
Hey, Mark, the other night where Joel Embiid looked like he was very doubtful and he wasn't going to play and everybody thought, okay, he's going to be out. Isn't that difficult for Coach Brett Brown to go through that nightly, not knowing if his best guy or biggest star is going to be in or out of the lineup?
Yes, it is. It's a headache. It's a headache if you're a coach, and only the coach if you're one of the players on the team, because you don't know. And, you might be thinking, okay, I'm going to get this amount of time. We're going to run these different sets now because Joel's not in here. Now that Joel's in, it was called in there, your mindset think, part of the game is mentally. You have to prepare mentally, envision what you're going to do on the court, where you're going, what spots you're going to be in, and you have to envision getting the job done when put in those situations. When Joel Embiid, who's such a commanding force, then you kind of say, okay, I got to do things differently. Maybe be a little bit more aggressive. And as a coach, you got to say, maybe we might run this play a little more, that play a little more. So those things are important. So it's even more important to know when you find out right before the game, then that can cause everybody to kind of go, oh man, what am I gonna do now? But the thing is, Joel commands such a presence that he commands so many double and triple teams that all you have to do is relax, make the right play, not the great play, but make the right play, and understand that because Joel's on the court, you're gonna be wide open shots. And Brett Brown is saying, now that Joel's in, the game will become easier because you can run different sets and run the ball through Joel Embiid.
And by the way, I should point out that he's not on the injury report today.
No.
So this morning at shoot-around, I mean, here's a guy who makes news when he is on the injury report. Today he's making news because he's not on the injury report.
Marc Jackson from NBC Sports Philadelphia pre- and post-game Sixers with us. And by the way, Mark, you are up for a Sports Bash Award for favorite NBA guest. So if Mark is your favorite NBA guest, vote on our website, 973ESPN.com. right now, and we will have those awards on January the 26th. So if Marc Jackson is your favorite NBA guest, he is up for a Sports Bash Award. It'll be a great award. We got a brand new Matt Blatt Kia for you.
Oh man, I'm down for that, man.
It won't. I will tell you what it will not include. It will not include a picture of you in a SpongeBob SquarePants uniform.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. I'm happy to hear that because when I see the Markelle Fultz in that, I said, oh my God, what is going on? Those things was hideous. Respectfully, those things was hideous. I was very disappointed.
Poor Emeka Okafor was the #1 pick in the draft, and he has now succumbed to having to wear a SpongeBob SquarePants uniform.
Yeah, man. I seen that, and I was just like, and it's funny because I was thinking some people just like to play until they can't walk no more, and then that's Omeka because he's well off financially. He just like they still like it.
Yeah.
For me, man, when I started playing with my children and started getting back pains and couldn't really hang with my children, I was like, oh, that's it. Time to call it quits.
Okay. Mark, before we let you run, Bill, quick. Now, you said the other night, that you don't think the Sixers are going to be fighting for a 7 or 8 seed.
Right.
You think they will be a 4 or 5 seed. The month of January for them is brutal.
No, I said 5 or 6. 5 or 6.
Okay, 5 or 6. 5 or 6. But the month of January is brutal. They got a very difficult stretch here. Boston, Toronto, Boston, Milwaukee. They're at San Antonio. They're going to have to keep their head above water in this month. But the February, March lightens up a bit. But you think that this team will easily still be a playoff team?
I do. I really do. I said that right after preseason, and I'll say it again now. I said this to quote, if Rocco can play 1% better than he did last year, this team would be a 5th seed. And I'll stick by that. I still think this team would be a 5th or 6th seed, but I don't think they're going to get in. I really don't. I think they have keys that they have major parts on a team in this Eastern Conference division that can get them high up into the playoffs where they're not struggling to get in. They will be a 5 or 6 seed because they have the score. They have the dominant low post presence. They have the point guard who can score or create for others. All they need is Markelle Fultz. They give them 12 to 14 additional points off the bench consistently. And to me, that's all they need to be up in that 5 or 6 seed. I really think the schedule will be hard, but this team is young. Remember, this team is young, so they will learn more. They're not just looking at the schedule, oh, that's a loss. But no. This team, These guys are looking at this like, oh, okay, we can do that. Oh, okay, we can do this. They're looking to do something special, and with everybody healthy, I really think they can.
Marc Jackson, NBC Sports Philadelphia. Sixers pre- and post-game. They will play the Pistons tonight, and they've beaten the Pistons twice, so let's see if they can make it 3 in a row against Detroit. Mark, it's always a pleasure, pal. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.